This will be the only video you need to watch about influencer marketing, because we're literally going to cover everything you need to know. First of all, how do you reach out to influencers? How do you negotiate with them? How do you make sure that they're actually good? How to actually use your influencer marketing in the best possible way to actually transfer the videos you get into Facebook ads, and also how to be profitable in the front end just from the shout outs you actually get from influencers. So the beauty of this is that you kind of can get free content, because you get the shout out, you pay the influencer, let's say $200. You make the sales through the shout out itself because they posted it on their page. Even if you make just a little bit more than the $200, which cover all the product costs and everything, you're breaking even. However, now you have a video which you literally gotten for free, which you're going to be able to use for your business. Okay? And this is extremely powerful, because this is the cycle which is going to get your business to the next level. If you have a store which is doing all right already, you need to cycle in a shit ton of creatives to make it work long term. That's just how dropshipping works, and your product will die down if you don't do this. So it's super important. All right, so now that you know that influencer marketing is important, we need to talk about how to reach out to them and how to even find them, okay? The number one thing to keep in mind here is volume is everything when it comes to influencers. Because there's a lot of people who come to me and they're like, yeah, I already texted 100 people. I only got 5 responses and they weren't that great, and they wanted way too much money and the offers were bad, so I didn't do it. It's like, all right, but you only texted 100 people. What do you expect here? Because the volume here is thousands. At least 1,000 people you need to text before you have anything to complain about anything. All right, so this is number one. Number two is you're going to reach out to them via DMs. And DMs are very easy to ignore, especially if you have a following. Okay, now there's 2 things which are extremely important here. Number one, fix your Instagram. Your Instagram has to look like a real brand, like something which the person actually wants to work with. Okay, this is extremely important. The profile picture needs to be on point. Your follower count has to be on point. If you don't have followers, either do PPE to actually boost the account itself, or buy followers, because this account shouldn't matter to you. And basically have a decent follower count, have a bunch of likes, have comments. Everything needs to look real. Secondly, the pictures need to be good, relevant to the product, and professional. Okay, this is the place where you need to show off everything to the influencers. You do not care about the customers. Your Instagram account is mostly for influencer marketing. And you need to have a bunch of highlights with people, other influencers, who already made a video for your product. Doesn't matter if it's testimonials from your store or from wherever, but you need to show the influencer that you already have worked with a bunch of people before. This is not your first time, you know your shit, and this is just a thing you do. All right, and that's also very important. On your timeline, on the highlights, everywhere, it needs to be shown. Now you need to understand that influencers with followings actually care a lot about their following, because if they promote shitty products, nobody's going to trust them again. So they actually truly care about the things they're going to sell, and your product quality needs to be on point, and also the way you send the product to the influencer also needs to be on point, because you need to have a beautiful box, fast delivery, some kind of postcard in the box which is going to say their name, some nice words, extra gift. You need to put an effort when you send out that product. The influencer has to like your brand itself. Do you need to have a brand for this? No, not at all. You can be a regular dropshipper, just buy 10 items to your home, make everything nice, put in a postcard, do everything by yourself, send it out with the fastest possible shipping, so it's there after like 2 days, and that's that. Basically, you don't need to have a crazy brand to actually make this work. Okay? And again, if all of this is not in place yet, you shouldn't do influencer marketing. All right, this is a crucial part of everything. If you're going to text 1,000 people from a bad-looking Instagram account, you wasted your time. If you're going to send out a bunch of products which have bad delivery time, don't look good, everything is bad, they're going to flake on you. They're going to receive the product and not work with you because they didn't like it. Okay, so those 2 things are just crucial. The next thing is DMs need to be sent, unsent, and sent again weekly. Because most influencers who have a decent follower count will just not see them. And that's not your fault. They get too many DMs, all right? And on top of that, you also need to send them emails if they have them linked on their Instagram. And obviously for emails, your Instagram account doesn't matter, but I would still recommend to put in your Instagram link in there in the email so they can actually check out what you're talking about. And this we need to talk about as well. Your store needs to look on point if you want to do influencer marketing. Because I'm talking about this a lot, you don't really need to have a store which looks amazing. However, when you do influencer marketing, you actually do need to have a store which looks very professional. Again, influencers do not really want to work with dropshippers, and the influencer needs to see you as a real brand. Okay? Doesn't matter if you are or not, they have to have this perception of you. And sending and unsending the messages is also super important, and literally 1,000 people which you've sent this message to. And you need to send and unsend all of this weekly to people who didn't answer, okay? Now, is this a crazy amount of work? Yes. Should you do all of this? No. Should you start doing all of this? Yes. You should be the first person who's gonna be doing this and text at least like the first few hundred people. And after that, you can outsource that and have a virtual assistant doing the same for you, okay? Now, if you DM too many people, Instagram will disable your ability to DM people for like 24 hours. And it depends on your account and the Instagram algorithm, how it works, but basically you cannot send out more than 10 new DMs per hour, sometimes even per day if it's a new account, whatever. But basically you need to figure out when your account actually gets disabled. It's only for 24 hours, it's not that big of a deal. And after that you can text people again. This is just so you know, so you don't go too crazy with it in a like very short time period, okay? This is more a long-term strategy where every day there's gonna be a lot of reach outs, and over the time it's gonna accumulate. Because if they follow you or they text you back, after that you can send unlimited amount of messages, okay? So after that it's gonna be just more and more and more, and everything is just gonna be easier. Now let's talk about how to actually DM them. And there's basically two components to this. Number one, proof that you are legit, what your product is, and that other people have worked with you. And number two is showing that they can earn money with you. Okay, so the first thing is either sending them pictures of your product being used by other influencers and it looking amazing, or the post the other influencer already did, you just forward it to them, like 3 different ones, 3 different pictures, three different whatever, but it needs to look fun. And the first thing they need to see is a face of a real person who looks good and your product. Then the same thing again, and then the last message is going to be something like selling shoutouts ? If so, what are your rates? And you basically either say that or a variation of that, but you don't really need to introduce yourself. Hey, we're this brand, whatever. They see that in your name. That's not what they need to know about. What they need to know about is you're legit, they can make money. And that's why we say instantly the first 2 words are selling shoutouts, because selling shoutouts means that they can potentially make money with you. The ratio of people clicking on the DM is higher. After that, you can say whatever, but I would just keep it short. You don't even need to explain what your product is because you need to show what your product is. And by the way, this is a very important marketing concept everywhere. If I'm telling you, hey, my student made 7 figures with his store, that's one thing. Or I can just make an interview with the person who made 7 figures, he shares the screen, explains the story and shows everything, and that's a different thing. Because I can speak or I can show. And there's a huge difference in that, and we need to always show more than we speak. And this is probably the most important part you can learn with influencers. Because generally, people do not respond to people who are gonna praise their brand and say how amazing they are and how good their customer experience is, versus they just show how good it is. They show a happy face with a product, everything looks crisp and nice and perfect, that's it. Now, one thing I wanna mention here is you need to keep track of everything. And I actually developed a really good spreadsheet on how to do that. If you want to get the spreadsheet, then DM me on Instagram. I'm gonna link it somewhere here and you're gonna get it. And it's just like, if you don't do this, then you're not putting enough effort. Because if you text a lot of people, you're gonna get lost if you don't have a proper sheet. And also, if you do not text enough people, you're gonna see that in the sheet and it's gonna be very clear how much effort you do put in or don't. All right. So honestly, this is probably one of those videos which is again gonna scare off a bunch of people from e-com in general, because I'm showing here how much work this actually is. However, I truly hope that somebody here will actually apply the things I'm talking about, even if they're not inside my program, because this is what it's all about. You need to just put in the time and just do more than everybody else, and you're gonna make it work. It's pretty simple, as long as you follow the right strategy. However, if you don't follow the right strategy, you're just gonna waste your time. And this is exactly the reason why we have our mentoring program. If you wanna join, click the link below, sign up for a free consultation session. With me personally, we're gonna find out if everything is a good fit, and if yes, we're gonna start working together. If no, then not. And yeah, hopefully see you there.